Good morning all, Chris here. I hope you're all well and had a good week. Another Friday rolls around again. It seems to be flying past this year. Today, I want to talk about the process of what happens after an offer has been agreed or accepted on the sale or purchase of a property. The major milestones which you need to hit to get the process to completion. Now, this video is about those major milestones, so I'm not going to delve into massive amounts of information on each section because it could make the video very long, very boring, and there's all manner of different things can come up. So it's just about those major points which have to happen to get to that all-important completion. Now, first and foremost, solicitor instruction. So there's a few things which need to happen for solicitor instruction. One, yes, obviously you need to pick your solicitor. Two, you'll need to sign paperwork for them. You'll also provide them identification as well. And if you're the seller of a property, you'll need to complete a property information pack as well, which can go across with the contracts. So the reason I mention this is because in some circumstances, you agree the sale of a property and 7 to 10 days later, nothing's happened. You call up the clients and say, oh yeah, I instructed my solicitors over the phone. There's a lot of stuff you need to do to make sure your solicitor is formally instructed. So make sure you've done all those bits and pieces. Once those solicitors are formally instructed, they will then confirm to each other that they are acting for the individual parties. And then the contract pack can go out. So that's my kind of milestone number one. We'll call it solicitor instruction, but with the goal of obviously getting that contract pack out as quick as you can. The next milestone usually can't happen until that contract pack has arrived, and that's what they call searches. Now, from my experience, there are 4 major searches. There's probably a few others which are very obscure, but the 4 major ones that I know of and I've heard of most commonly: your environmental search, your water and drainage search, your local search, and your chancel search. The chancel search is to do with reparations to the local church. If there's anyone watching this in the industry and have got it wrong, apologies, that's what I know that it's to do with. There's also a mining search, but I've not really come across that in our region too often at all. So I don't think we need to worry about that so much. Most of those searches will come back very quickly, in the same day or a couple of days. The one which doesn't is the local search. And historically, that's probably, in Milton Keynes area, it's coming back about 2 to 3 weeks at the minute. It has been longer in the past, and it can be quicker in certain circumstances. But usually it's around 2 or 3 weeks, I think. Now, the next milestone is going to be raising of inquiries or questions. Now, solicitors like to ask inquiries in one big lump. They don't like doing bit part questioning. Now, they won't raise those inquiries until those searches are back. So that's why it's very important to pay for those searches as early as you can in the process and get those searches raised via your solicitor. Now, with inquiries, they can go backwards and forwards quite a few times. If a buyer's solicitor is not satisfied with an answer that a seller's solicitor has given, then they will ask that question. The reason I say that is because sometimes you're following up on a transaction, and I'll say to the vendors, look, there's some inquiries still outstanding, and they might say, yeah, but they keep asking me this question over and over again. It might be that it's not been answered conclusively, or one question leads to another question, leads to another question. So in a lot of circumstances, it's not them trying to be difficult, it's just them trying to clarify something. Sometimes, yeah, they do ask. I think there's set questions they ask, and they're very small, and they just keep asking the questions because it's probably cut and pasted from an email. But yeah, the point there is obviously if there's any information you need to get, whether it's planning permissions or building regs, or if they need your input on something, make sure you're obviously helping to get those inquiries answered conclusively as quick as possible. So my next milestone done. The next one I'm going to talk about is finances, whether it's gifted deposits, mortgage offers, that kind of thing. So deposits, you need to provide statements or proof of where the deposits have come from. Very basic stuff. If you've got a gifted deposit, now that brings us to another section that we need. That person who's gifting the deposit also needs to go for an identification purpose and provide evidence of where that money's come from as well. So that they'll have to be sort of linked, in this process. Now, with gifted deposits as well, you need to let your financial advisor know as early as you can in the process that it's a gifted deposit, because what the major thing is that there's a different process that lenders will follow if it's a gifted deposit. And the worst case scenario is that some lenders don't actually deal with gifted deposits. So that's why it's very important that you speak to your financial advisor early in the process and advise them that parents lending me some money or somebody's lending me some money, so they can go down the right process to get that sorted. With mortgage offers as well, the solicitor will act for you, but they also act for the lender. So they may also ask some inquiries of the seller's solicitors as well. And then of course you've got to sign your mortgage deed and make sure that's signed and back with the solicitor. So moving on to the latter stages, all the inquiries have been answered, the searches have come back, everything's fine, mortgage offers in place, deposits has been identified, if you like, or gone through the money laundering identification process. You need to provide a buildings insurance at point of exchange for a buyer. There is two policies which will run, the buyer's policy and a seller's policy. They'll both run together. It's just the way it is. Obviously, it's extra protection in a way if anything happens between exchange and completion. You'll also need to sign your contracts as well, and then very last usually is then lodge your deposit, and usually around these kind of end phases we're talking about completion dates or moving dates. My advice on completion dates is try your best not to discuss them early in the process. In 15 years of selling houses, the major problems or major stresses always come because people have discussed completion dates way in advance, and we're not going to hit it. And the thing with this process is nobody is ever in 100% control. It's down to the solicitors to get it there. We just need to keep getting those solicitors working to obviously get to the end of the process as quick as possible. But yeah, some people might go, "Oh, Chris, you're mad," not suggesting that. But you know what? I had hair when I started this job, and probably the worst thing that's made it fall out is trying to keep sales together where people are missing completion dates. So as mad as it sounds, try not to do that until you've got to the very end phases, because it will make the process smoother, less stressful as possible. So you agree your completion date, you exchange contracts with that completion date fixed, and bang, that's it. That's the end of the process. On completion dates, on the completion day, obviously that's when the money is transferred, and legal ownership does take place of the property, and it's then yours. So look, that's kind of the milestones. Hope that's of interest. Any other questions at all, or you need any advice on any particular section, or you've got a house sale yourself, a house purchase you want a bit of advice on, please give me a shout. Also, if you've got a valuation or would like a free market appraisal on a property, give me a call, 07595 473 891. Have a good weekend, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Thank you.